Okay, so this webinar is presented by Bill Whelden and Andrew Sharicz, and same as last month. Haven't changed the slide.
I like how you made the font for my name so small. Sorry, go ahead, Bill.
Well, I just wanted to be clear about, who was.
Yeah, I got it.
All right, cool. Okay, so the combined steps, I'm going to go over 10 steps this morning that will help keep you safe when combined together. So there's no one, you've heard me say this many times, I'm sure, but I'll say it again. There's no one thing that you're going to do that's going to keep the bad guys out. So there's a number of things that you do together. And this webinar is really about you personally, as opposed to just a business environment. This is you at home. This is you at work. This is just all around stuff to do with technology and with your day-to-day life in technology. So I'm going to go right into step one. The first and most important thing is to install and maintain a good antivirus. We call this type of software antivirus, but fending off actual computer viruses is just a small part of what they do. Ransomware, as you know, it encrypts your files and it demands payment to restore them. And Trojan horse programs, they look like valid applications, but behind the scenes, they steal your information. And then there are bots that turn your computer into a soldier in a zombie army ready to engage in denial of service attacks or spew spam or whatever the bot herder commands. And the bot herder is the person who's controlling the bot from Russia or somewhere in Southeast Asia. So an effective antivirus protects against these and a lot of other kinds of malware. And really, I put Avast up there because it's free. So if you're, don't have the whatever it costs per year for one of the better ones, the other guys are better. Bitdefender is fantastic. Webroot's really good. Kaspersky used to be on my list. It used to be if you bought a computer at Costco, you would get a year or two of Kaspersky for free. Kaspersky is a Russian company. We've had to cross it off the list. We know that there are, some shenanigans going on with that. There are other antiviruses as well. I don't recommend anything else. If you're in your business environment and it's a business computer, what we really recommend is something that's more of an enterprise grade like SentinelOne, which we use for our clients, that is SOC monitored. And what a SOC is, it's a security operations center. And what that means is there's somebody manning that, seeing the data, the antivirus data from your computer in real time and ready to act on that. So if something got through, we would be alerted immediately. We'd be able to get in there and shut that down. If you need more information about that, my contact information is at the end. Feel free to reach out to me, but I'd suggest you reach out to your IT people and just say, hey, we got this kind of thing. We need this kind of thing. And the term is SOC, S-O-C. And I'm sure they'll know what that is. So in theory, you can set and forget your antivirus protection, but letting it, just let it go along in the background. It'll download updates, it'll so on. And in practice, you should look at it every once in a while. Most of the utilities in antivirus display a green banner when everything is okay. If you open the utility and you see yellow or red, just follow the instructions and get things back on track. And again, if you need that, if you're a business, you really need a SOC monitored security application. So talk to your IT people. And Mr. Sharicz, do you have anything to add on this?
Yeah, I know it's not on your list, but I will say that if you have Windows 10 or Windows 11, the Windows Defender that is included with that it's not bad.
Yeah, we're going to cover that in the next couple of slides.
Yeah. But, as an antivirus solution, so if you don't have anything, you just want to make sure Windows Defender is on, because it's not a bad solution. Okay.
So my next slide, as you see, says, wait, isn't antivirus for Windows free and built in? And the answer is, Andrew's already indicated, is yes. And not only is it baked into the operating system, it automatically takes over protection when it detects that there's no other antivirus installed. And it automatically steps aside if you install one of those third-party protections. And I guess the thing is, the built-in antivirus really doesn't compare to those other guys, except there was one time that I remember in recent history where there was a piece of ransomware that was out there in the wild. And what in the wild means, it means that the antivirus softwares don't know about it yet. So it's in the wild until they get it into their definitions. And most of the antivirus software, including Windows Defender, they have some in the wild detection capability, and nobody detected this ransomware except Windows Defender. So I do recall that. So I will qualify and say that it does have its moments. But I wouldn't rely on it. I think you can do better. So if you can, maybe look at one of those other ones. So that's all I'll say on that. You know, the next thing that we want to recommend is that you explore your security tools. There are things like Find My Phone. All you have to do is turn it on. Well, it's not enough to just turn it on. Test it. Make sure it works. Make sure you can actually find your phone. A lot of the antiviruses that we talked about, they have something built in called PUA protection. And by default, a lot of the times it's turned off because PUAs are potentially unwanted applications. And they're not viruses. They're not necessarily malware, but they don't do anything useful. They do things like take your information to sell it to other people or to other companies and whatnot. And sometimes they've been known to actually use their position of trust on your computer, if you will, to let other applications be downloaded and installed. So you want to go through and make sure that that kind of thing is turned on. And I'd really recommend that you just, during some downtime, flip through all the settings in the tabs and just see what's in there and what it can do, and make sure that it's all turned on, that it's all good. And Andrew, did you have any feedback on this?
Just the flipping through all the settings tabs. My process is click all the things and turn it on until your computer doesn't work good, and then unclick some things until it works good again, and then you'll know.
Yeah, well, we remember the days when any antivirus on your computer at all, you could always tell when it was doing a scan, because it would grind everything to a halt. But fortunately, fortunately, it works a lot better these days. So, okay, so and lastly, I'm going to give you. I'll put this link in the chat. This is a really good website to go to. There's an organization called AMPSO, the Anti-Malware Testing Standards Organization. And if you go there on your computer, or even on your phone, Android or iPhone, that was not good. It will, I'm trying to get this link copied. Let's see. I wanted to copy this so I could put it into the chat. I guess I got to click on it and it'll open in the browser, and then I can put it in the chat.
You talk, Bill. I'll take care of that.
Okay. So you can go to this website, and there's a few different little tests you can do, but basically it'll test your computer and make sure that you've got adequate protection. Yeah, so do that. Why not? It's free. And if your antivirus doesn't pass, it's time to contact tech support and find out why. Okay, and Andrew, did you get that link?
I'm pasting it in now.
Cool, thank you for doing that. Okay. All right, the next thing that we want to say is you need to use unique passwords for everything. Everything. One of the easiest ways that hackers steal information is by getting a batch of usernames and passwords from the dark web or someplace, and they try those same combinations elsewhere. They try them on your Facebook page and anything else they can think of, bank sites and whatnot. And let's say your hacker gets your username and password by hacking an email provider. They might try to log into banking sites, major online stores, using the same username and password. The single best way to prevent a data breach from having a domino effect is to use a strong, unique password on every single account you have. And the way to do that these days is using a password manager. And we did a webinar on that last month. So if you need more information about that, or you don't, you know about that, please ping me and I'll be happy to help you with that. It's a really, really almost mandatory thing for you to do nowadays. And this is, I know this is your favorite, Andrew, right? It's use multi-factor authentication for everything, for Gmail, for Evernote, for Dropbox, for Amazon. If you just use a password for authentication, anyone who learns that password owns your account. And with multi-factor authentication enabled, the password alone is useless. And most password managers now support multi-factor. Some only require it when they detect a connection from a new device. Enable it for your password manager. That is an absolute must, because that's the keys to the kingdom. Really quick, I want to cover the four main types of multi-factor authentication. The one that we like the best is using an authenticator app. They're free. You can download one from Authy, from Google, from Amazon, from Microsoft. If you're a business customer with us, we prefer one called Duo. It's a little more secure. We can manage it for you and help you out with that. Sometimes you have an option to get a phone call. You know, it's not as good as an authenticator app, but it's still good, right? They're going to call you on the phone and you're going to press 1 for yes, allow it, or 2 for no, don't allow it. Text message, we're all familiar with that, and that's really probably the most common form of multi-factor today. And you know, just know that your phone number can be hijacked, right? It can be, there are ways for me to learn some information about your phone and then have that number all of a sudden ring to my phone instead of your phone, so I can intercept your text messages. And the last way is the way we dislike this: security questions, right? What's your favorite color? What's your favorite food? What's the name of your girlfriend or your first girlfriend or your first boyfriend? These are terrible. I mean, this is information that people can find out about you. You don't know who is, you know, you just don't know what's out there about you on the internet, or what people can easily learn from you. Somebody calls your house and your kid answers the phone and they say, hey, what's mommy or daddy's favorite color? And kids want to be helpful. And that's just a, you know, kind of a wild example. There's just lots of, if you put your mind to it, there's lots of different ways to learn information about people. Andrew, do you want to say anything about multi-factor authentication?
Sure. So security questions, are like, you know, it's like a substitute for multi-factor authentication, right? It's, you know, it's not very good. If you have some high security things too, it's getting easier. It's kind of a pain, but you know, physical tokens like a little USB thing or a thing you tap on your phone are getting more popular. You probably would only use those with bank accounts or stuff that, you know, you need to keep really secure. But those are an option where, you know, where you have something you really don't want other people to get at.
Yeah, so you're talking about a security key.
Yeah, I've been using, Google has a program where you can enable high security and you use like tokens with it. It's really for journalists that are, you know, trying to be secret, but I've been using it for a couple of years. It's not bad, but you have to have a physical key. So like, you know, it's really hard to get into my Gmail, but on the other hand, I have to have those physical keys when I want.
Now, what would happen if you lost that key?
They have a whole system. So you have to have 2 keys. You have to, like, they have ways to get in, but it involves a waiting period if I lost those keys.
Wow. Okay. Well, thank you for that. Okay. So use passcodes even when they are optional. So if you have a device managed by us, a business device, a business phone or whatnot, and it's managed by us and you're using your 365 on there, we're gonna make you have a passcode on there, right? But it's, you know, it's necessary. Put a password on your smartphone, put a password on your iPad, and you know, it doesn't have to be a passcode. It could be facial recognition, could be a fingerprint, but have something on there because, you know, those things get lost, they get stolen. And there's more, there probably is more information on there than you would think. Okay, so here's a new one in this webinar, at least new for me. Start paying with your smartphone. The system of credit card use, it's outdated. It's not very secure at all. Setting up your smartphone as a payment device is a very simple process. It starts with snapping a picture of the credit card you'll use, and it pretty much ends there, and you're ready. Some of the more popular, I've listed some of the more popular payment applications. If you're on an iPhone, obviously Apple Pay. If you're on a Android, the most common Android now is Samsung, so I have Samsung Pay. It's what I use. PayPal has an app. Google has an app, of course, GPay. Zelle is becoming really popular, and that goes directly to your bank account, in and out of your bank account. So if you're with Bank of America, if you're with Wells Fargo, if you're with Truist, I know those three use Zelle. I also know, I just learned this, it doesn't work with any foreign banks, because I just had somebody who was in Germany wanting to pay us with a payment app, and I asked them to use Zelle, and they couldn't do it. So that's, I forget what number we're up to. I should have put numbers on the slides, but we're getting there. It's all right. This one I get some pushback on, and I'm gonna tell you up front that I'm not real good about doing what I'm about to preach. I do it to a very small extent, and I'll be candid about how I do it. I could be more secure with it if I were more organized. So people who are both highly organized and methodical about their security will use different email addresses for different purposes. So they want to keep the online the online identities that associated with different functions separate. Right. So if your banking's a really good example, or personal business, if you have an email address that you just use for banking and you never use it on social media, you know, the chances of somebody guessing that as the username for your bank account go way down. If a phishing email claims, comes to you and it claims to be from your bank, and it's an account you only use with social media, then you know it's fake. Now, let me be honest about how I do that. There are people who have one for social media, one for, trying out apps or trying out free stuff, and they go and put that junk email address in, and then they use one for the shopping, for Macy's and for the grocery store, and all those people who want, they want that information. You're selling them that information, right? Because you're getting discounts at stores by giving them that information, and then using it every time you go shopping, using their little card or whatever, or your phone number, so that they can keep track of you. And then having one, it's separate for just your family. So no business related stuff, it's just family and friends. I'm going to tell you, I couldn't do that. It would drive me crazy. I have three. I have one for work. I have one that's personal, for friends and family. And the little bit of social media that I do is on that one. And then I have a junk one, and that's the one I use for shopping and trying out apps. It's a Hotmail address. I've had it for years. You want to say anything about this, Andrew?
Yeah, there's you're probably familiar with this, Bill. It depends on the system, but there's kind of a halfway you can do with this too, which doesn't give you a different email address, but lets you use different email addresses. So Gmail is one of the biggest ones that allows this. They allow what's called plus addressing. So if you want to obscure your username, it wouldn't necessarily stop somebody from figuring out what your email address is. But if you want to use different usernames, you may not know that, like, my email address at Gmail is asharicz@gmail.com. But if I can create, like, if I put in asharicz plus Spotify@gmail.com, that email will deliver to me. And I'll be able to see that it was sent to the plus Spotify address, and I could use that as a username at Spotify. So if I wanted to separate out my usernames, or, I know some people use it for, then they can figure out who's selling their information, because they'll know by which email address it comes to. That's not a bad intermediate step. And you could always block email to a certain address when you stop using it via Gmail. So it's kind of a good in-between step. It's not really another email address. interesting.
Yeah, you know, and I had forgotten you could do that with Google. So thank you for that. That's really good information. Maybe I'll give that a try because I need to separate out the stuff more. So the next slide, I'm going to give you a heads up. I made a mistake on, and the mistake that I made is it's got this same Virgil's same. It's almost the same slide. It says social media, trying out apps, shopping, family, personal business. And it's not supposed to, it's supposed to say other stuff. So I'm going to go on to that slide, but just so you know, it's not you, it's me. So our next security tip is to clear your cache. And I can't emphasize that enough. Again, just ignore this stuff. Never underestimate how much your browser's cache knows about you. Saved cookies, saved searches, web history, it points to your home address, family information, other personal data. So once in a while, really more often than I do it, hit Control plus Shift plus Delete, and that's what's supposed to be in the body of this slide. Control plus Shift plus Delete, and it'll bring up the dialog that lets you choose which elements of browser data that you want to clear. So you don't have to clear everything. You can select that you want to clear the cookies, or you can even, now it's even very granular. You can choose just to clear from certain websites that have put cookies on there and whatnot. So that's an important thing. And again, it's very disconcerting to go in there and start looking and finding out what your browser is retaining about you and about your online activity. I'm moving on. Okay, and we're sure it's best to leave password protection to the experts who make password managers. We are positive that you need to turn off the save password feature in your browsers. Yes, it is super convenient to save those passwords. It's super convenient to store the credit card information. The password managers will store your credit card information, and they'll do a better job of keeping it secure. Think about this. When you install a third-party password manager, it typically offers to import your password from the browser storage, and it does it just like that. If the password manager can do that, you can be sure that there's plenty of malicious software out there that can do the exact same thing. I've seen it work. I've seen how fast that malware on your computer that you might have inadvertently picked up from a website can download that information. It's scary. So if you miss anything today in this webinar, don't miss this. Turn off save passwords in your browsers. And keeping your passwords in a single central password manager, it lets you use them across all browsers and all devices. So if you've got the password manager on your computer and on your phone, then you've got the same save password information. So Andrew, do you want to add anything about how bad it is to save passwords in the browser?
Yeah, I mean, imagine the most hacked password manager in the world has to be the password manager in Chrome, because it's, the whole world fights to be your default, and you just install Chrome and it offers to save a password, and there you have it. So like everybody's got some passwords saved in Chrome if they haven't specifically eliminated it. So it's the absolute most popular one, and so all the criminals are working on taking passwords from it.
Cool, thank you. So in case I didn't say it, the point of this slide is to convey the message that you need to turn off save password feature in all your browsers. Moving on. There we go. All right, so this is protecting your social media privacy. Here's what I want you to take away from this. If you're not paying for a service, you're not a customer, you're a product. You're the product. If you're not, let me say that again. If you're not paying for a service, you're not the customer, you're the product. You can download your Facebook data and see just what they know about you. And I've included the link there, Andrew, if you could paste that in as well. This is an article on PC Mag about how to download your Facebook data, and you should do that. It's really eye-opening, especially if you're the kind of person who routinely clicks on quizzes that requires access to your social media account. And really, you don't need to know which Disney princess or dog breed you are. I mean, you don't. And it's what they're doing is, it's freaky, it's scary. So you can drastically reduce the amount of data going to Facebook by disabling the sharing platform entirely. And once you do, your friends can no longer leak your personal data. You can't lose data to apps because you can't use apps, and you can't use your Facebook credentials to log into other websites, which was always a bad idea, by the way. I know it's convenient, but it's a really bad idea. I'm so sorry. I forgot to put my phone on Do Not Disturb. Let's hope it shuts up. Google probably knows more about you than Facebook. So take steps to manage your Google privacy too. And there is a link there on how you can do that. Make sure you configured each social media site so that your posts aren't public, all except Twitter and other broadcast media services. Think twice before revealing too much in a post, since your friends might share it with other people. And that's all I have to say about that. Other than that, you can retain your privacy without losing the entertainment and connections. It just takes a little work and a little bit of care. Do you want to add anything to that, Andrew?
Nope. Just I posted the links in the chat.
Thank you so much for doing that.
It's probably in that article on Facebook, but there's a ton of stuff you can change in Facebook.
Yeah,
all the defaults are
a pretty good article.
Yep. Yeah. Even if they offer you options to kind of tighten up, the defaults are always, here's all my stuff, right?
Yep. All right. So I don't know if anybody's keeping count or not, but that was the 10th tip. Putting all that together is what we want. Hopefully you're taking notes. If not, we're going to post this on YouTube later, and you could go back through, and I really should have just listed all 10 on the first slide. I think I'll go back and do that for when we do this next time. Anyway, that's the conclusion. Here is my I took this slide from another webinar where we were doing a product launch. So it says, what can I expect to pay for all this? There's nothing on here we're selling today. This is all absolutely free, so you can expect to pay $0. This is my contact information. If you have any questions or you want any follow-up at all, if you click on this link, which Andrew will post in the chat, I hope, that will take you to my calendar. You can book 15 minutes with me. There's no cost for that. And here's an email address. You can email us on info@rx-it.com. So that is that. And I am going to stop sharing, come back so you can see my lovely mug. And if thank you all for attending. Are there any questions in the Q&A that we want to? Oh, you've been answering them as we went along. Okay. Thank you for that. I'll give one more shout out for questions, and if we don't have any, we can conclude this. Oh, what is your YouTube site? I tried to look it up. This is in the chat window. Okay, but I couldn't immediately find it. Anybody know where our YouTube? What is our YouTube channel? It's RXIT, right?
It is, yeah.
RX-IT.
Yeah.
Should
I'll
do it.
find it.
Okay.
I'll find it. And we're backed up for posting the recordings.
So you mean we got recordings we need to post?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we have like 2. Sorry.
All right. Well,
YouTube links are not obvious, so I have to find our YouTube
link.
channel.
Okay. Well, I know the person who asked that question, so I will send it to her in an email as well. But if you search RX-IT YouTube on Google, I believe you'll come up with it.
Yep, and I posted it.
Okay, cool. Thank you for doing that. All right, well, thank you, everyone. Appreciate you attending our webinar on key simple security steps, and enjoy the rest of your day.
See you, everyone.